The worst generation will likely be the last opponent the Gorosei will face at the end of One Piece's story. It is not without reason, considering that both sides are the strongest groups depending on their time. The Gorosei have finally been in the spotlight since the end of the Wano arc, after they revealed the facts about the name and true power of Luffy's devil fruit. They have also now started to actively move after seeing the real big threat from the figure of Monkey D. Luffy. More recently, we were shown one of the Gorosei members who finally joined them to go to Egghead Island with Kizaru. Speaking of the Gorosei, there is an interesting theory where the worst generation will be their last opponent at the end of the One Piece story. Of course, you are already familiar with the worst generation. The worst generation is a term referring to 12 infamous pirates who emerged immediately before the beginning of the Summit War of Marineford. They are super rookies pirates with high spirits and have different missions and goals. However, one thing they have in common is that they aim to be a pirate king. Even though they generally do not act together with the exception of Law and Luffy and Kid, they are still a group that poses a major threat to the world government. So that's one of the reasons they always get the spotlight for different actions. In fact, this title is also one of the considerations for increasing their bounty value. According to information, the worst generation has a bounty of more than 100 million belly. They are also known as pirates who have tremendous power. In a way, the worst generation are the powerful pirates, and also the most powerful in this new era. We can also see an increase in their strength after the time skip moment occurs, until their strength is recognized by the world government and the Navy. With the recognition of the worst generation pirates, they are currently described as being in the same position as the Yonko, 7 warlords, and Revolutionary Army. The Battle of Onigashima is the latest proof of how the worst generation is a new generation of pirates who are ready to overturn the old generation. We do not know how the Gorosei succeeded in filling their positions in the world government. We never know how long they've been in place. Oda didn't even provide information on their strengths and names until later in chapter 1073. Yesterday, it was discovered that one of them was named St. J. Garcia Saturn. He goes with Kizaru to Egghead Island in order to eliminate Vegapunk and Luffy. The appearance of St. J. Garcia Saturn has made many fans suppose about their connection with ancient weapons. Also, many fans think that he and the other Gorosei are the strongest fighters of the old era. They were probably the strongest fighters that fought 800 years ago. But it should be noted that we are only talking about speculation, because until now Oda still hasn't presented any information that reveals how strong the Gorosei are, or how great their strength is. The moment of St. J. Garcia on Egghead Island could give us an idea of the strength of the Gorosei. Supposing the Gorosei are powerful and extraordinary fighters, it is not impossible for them to fight the pirates of the worst generation. This epic moment will probably occur at the end of One Piece's story, and the battle on the roof of Onigashima could be a small picture of the fight between these two parties later. While there are still things that could change depending on the development of the plot, this speculation is not something that is impossible to arrive at, particularly when we know that the worst generation and the Gorosei are the strongest characters of two different eras. Besides, Luffy and the other worst generation are determined to conquer the Grand Line. In other words, they have to be prepared for whatever challenges there are, including the Gorosei. Even though the worst generations are the representatives of their respective pirates, in the Battle of Onigashima, we have seen how their individual forces are, especially when working together. The world government will certainly not remain silent in the face of the growth of the worst generation force. And at the end of the story, there could be a moment where they have to work together again to confront the Gorosei.